could be a doctor doing nothing, would you be? My answer would be yes. If you could be if you could be a lawyer doing nothing, yes. If you could be a civil service officer doing nothing, yes. But the main point comes, everyone loves the result, but do you love the process?
Yep.
And that is something I believe is passion. Passion is energy, yes, and this is where the energy flows. Hey guys, it's me Tahir Danish, and welcome back to Chasing Happiness. This is a show where I share my personal experiences, have conversations with people who are impacting the world, and I think they have a completely fabulous story to share with every single one of you, which would provide a lot of value to you and me, and of course, the person who is the guest. And today, I have a guest who is a 23-year-old entrepreneur. He works as the head of marketing in a US based startup called the FinTech School. He has twice been featured on entrepreneur.com. He has also been mentioned in the top 30 game changers of India. He has founded Rukt, a startup which connects the blood donator to the person who wants blood in need, and he has also founded Higher Solve. He is also a startup consultant. He has consulted more than 30 startups as for marketing and growth. He is also a LinkedIn content creator. So help me in welcoming Deep Kakkad. I'm really grateful to have Deep on the show. Hope you love the episode. Thank you. So Deep, thank you for being taking out time and being on this show. So just a glimpse of why I started this show. I have a purpose in my life, which is to create a world where people do not chase money, which plenty of people do not chase formal education, which a plenty do, in fame or those kind of things, but chase real fulfillment. And when I mean chase, people might get it wrong, but not exactly chase and just be in that era, just being fulfilled. Just like you are. I genuinely believe that you are a happy person. I, you are, right?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, so that's great, and that this is why. And I love podcasting because I think we can dive deep into these conversations with podcasting, and I can share my conversation with someone, to my listeners, right? And so this is why I love podcasting, and there are two reasons why I use this. A, to reflect on what I did and just talk to myself. B,
Hmm.
to have conversations with successful people like you, the people I admire, and the people who I think are really someone who have an fascinating story to share, and
Hmm.
others might be able to grade a lot of value from it. So
Right.
that is why I do podcasting.
Awesome, man. I'm so proud of you. You're 15 and you're talking so profound stuff, man. Love it.
Thank you so much. So now I know that uh, how successful you are just at the age of 23. You've been two times featured on entrepreneur.com. You've started two startups, won a competition at Singapore. I just listened to the podcast of you had been at
Hmm.
in the Rohit
Yeah,
Mangnani show,
Rohit.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I listened to that podcast, and I was just like, I may have heard this guy before, and I
Hmm.
was so confused. Then I searched you on LinkedIn, and I was
Yeah.
like, I have seen this. I've seen him. I've seen him. And then I searched on YouTube, and then I realized where I've seen. So I've
Right.
watched your Josh talk, and it was really Josh, full of Josh. The ending part especially,
Yeah.
why you have been you when you tried to become an entrepreneur and you focused on that entrepreneurial thing and not becoming a problem solver,
Yeah.
and that is when you became quite miserable. I
Yeah.
just love that the way you said, and it just really hit me.
Awesome.
So how did this all start? How does it
Hmm.
all start?
Sure. So, I used to be a guy who, you know, who Okay, so it's just me, so I can say I was dumb. Okay, I was a dumb guy, and there's nothing bad in being dumb. Okay, okay. So I used to be a guy who wouldn't know anything about what's happening in the world. I would just go to school and then come back, do my homework, do nothing, roam around with friends. But then I went to college, still the same thing, no one would know me. Deep, oh yeah, there's a guy called Deep. Who is Deep? So what happened one day is, and there was no motive of me being an entrepreneur, and you'll know that in some time. But what happened is, I got a WhatsApp message from one of my friends saying that someone from his relative needs blood. And then as being a human, of course I would do this. I sent this forwarded this WhatsApp message to a few people in my contact and a few groups in my contact. And then fortunately I got a reply after a few hours. But then by the time I reached back to the person who needed blood, I came to know that the person who actually needed blood was dead. And being that I was, doing computer engineering, I thought there should be something that I can do about this. So, no motives, no understanding of what entrepreneurship is or what a startup is. Just wanted to solve this problem once and for all for everyone who faces this kind of situations. So, went up and developed an Android application to let people who need blood connect with people who can donate blood uh, in a matter of seconds. So what used to happen before that is people had to go to blood banks, and then blood banks sell this kind of sell blood packets in black market, charge a lot. Sometimes you don't find blood banks, sometimes you don't find the blood groups that you need. But yeah, so what I developed was something that could solve this problem. And that was the time, or during this time, while I was working on this, I came into this understanding of what entrepreneurship is and what startups are. So that was my the entry point to the ecosystem.
Wow, that's so great. So the main motive was like every other successful entrepreneur to help others, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when you got started, obviously, as you said, you did not have any knowledge of what an entrepreneur was, what an entrepreneur is, and startups and investing and investor pitching and all those kind of things. So how did you manage to get the money and get all those things in order?
Yeah. So for this one, we struggle a lot to raise investment. There was a time when the college that I used to study at offered us some money, but then we decided not to take money, because when you take money, and this is one of the most important lessons that I've learned in my second startup. But then going back to this one, I would say that we did not take money because we understood that. It comes with some responsibilities, especially the commercial ones, and that was something that we did not want to do. So even though we were offered money, we did not take it. On the other aspects of entrepreneurship, it was pretty simple. Someone, basically, I don't know who the person was, but someone told that, oh, you guys are entrepreneurs, me and my co-founders. And then this word hit me, and then I started googling and started learning, and it was very much basic understanding, and basic steps that I took to understand what startups are and how to run them. And I don't think at that time there were many resources or steps that I took that would be helpful for me to share, because uh, I just did basic googling. Yeah.
Wow. That to me, I just want to highlight that point. Everyone listening right now, get this deep inside your head. You do not need $1 million to get started. You do not need a big a you do not need a MacBook. You do not need those JBL headphones or anything to get started. And I love this quote by Zig Ziglar. He said,
Mhm.
you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
True.
And and I've shared this multiple times because what I see people, and I have heard this a million times after I started uploading content, and I ask everyone of my friends who, many of my friends love to produce music. So I ask them, what stops you from doing so? And they're like,
Mhm.
I don't have enough instruments. And Deep, trust me, I am using a headphone right now, which
Mhm.
is a broken one, 180 rupees headphone, which I
Okay.
think my brother bought it,
Yeah.
and I'm still using it because the money I save, I just invested it in my last business, I guess, which I did not start
Mhm.
because, and this is something I really want to ask you. I
Mhm.
did not start this business. I almost did everything. So that was something of a clothing lineup. I did everything. I bought the clothes. I talked with people who are going to invest, and I
Mhm.
had everything ready. But at the last moment, I felt lack of fulfillment and lack of meaning,
Mhm.
and that is when I took a break, and I asked myself, is this something you really want to do? Yes, you can
Mhm.
help other people, but and I know 0 to 1 is one of your favorite books. So
Yep.
as Peter Thiel says, we have too many small, or un you know we have too many 1 to n businesses in today's world. And
Mhm.
that really hit me hard. I was like, do you really want to do this? Yes, you can help a plenty of people, but
Mhm.
does will this give you the meaning? Because what I think, you can get started by the excitement and you can work hard, but if you don't find meaning in it, you cannot go too far. And I want to ask you this: when you started with this startup, how what motivated you the most?
Good question. So I'll for a second I'll go back to your previous point where you said that you don't need money to start, and that's really true. And I wanna convey this message saying that when I started this first startup, we invested like 0 rupees, nothing. There was no investment needed, right? It's just you
Yeah,
wanting to do something, you trying to learn skills. So people say I need to learn application development or Android development. Okay, you go to Udemy and then find free courses. I still do. I have money right now, but I still do free courses, right? So it's not always money
exactly.
that is the hurdle. It's just excuses that you're making for yourself. You are not being truthful to yourself, and you say that you don't have money and you cannot start. It's just an excuse. So coming back to what you said about what motivated me the most, right? So
Yeah.
uh, this is where the interesting part comes in, uh, and which also as you said, you saw my Jostox video, so you would know this, that everything was going good. We were trying, we're struggling to get more users. We are trying to educate people because this is one of the things where, and specifically in healthcare industry, you need to educate people and let them know that how this would benefit them. So we are trying to educate people about how this would help their lives. Meanwhile, what happened is we started getting fame, as I would say, or if I say practically, we started getting published on newspapers, and this was the time when I would not say my co-founders because I'm not sure how they felt about it, but I definitely got diverted into getting fame and being an entrepreneur and a CEO. So then at this time, being a CEO or being an entrepreneur or being a startuper became my motive, and that was the time that I would say that was the reason, and that was the time which resulted into me failing or resulted into my startup failing. So my motive first was to save people. Everything was good. Everything concluded at a good point. When my motive diverted from being a problem solver to an entrepreneur, we fell down. And then again, uh, when I went on to my next startup, then again I knew this lesson. I understood that I should be a problem solver. Then again my motive went into a positive direction, which helped me take my startup at a better direction.
Yeah, that is something really important, because and why I started, part of why I started uploading content
Mm-hmm.
and this thing, one of my main, what I always tell all the, the new people, the new teens or the young people I meet,
Mhm.
or my friends and everyone at school, that please think about your life, because we spend more than 50% of our lives, an average human being spends more than 50% of their lives working. And just imagine, so many people spend this more than 50% of their lives doing something they don't love.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true.
That hit me really hard, and it's something I just feel so amazed. People really do not care about it. Just feels so ludicrous. And yeah, I really want to convey this message to all the listeners. Please hear this out. When Deep Kakkar changed his intention from saving lives, which was his mission, to being an entrepreneur, and when he started getting recognition and he started, to focus on that, at that time, it kind of, the misery started falling in.
Yeah.
But when he again focused on why he started, his why, as Simon Sinek calls it, then things again got better. So Deep, I want to ask you this question: what do you love the most about entrepreneurship?
Wow. I have never thought about this. So, what do I love about being an entrepreneur? So, a few things. First, I would say to be able to find problems, and producing solutions for this problem, and seeing smiles on people's faces when they say, oh yeah, your product is solving my problem. So when I'm talking about doing something social, I'm also working on a social startup right now, and then my first startup, as we're talking, was also a social startup. So when you're talking about social startups, this is definitely something, people watching smile on people's face and understanding that we have somehow solved their problem or made their lives easier or better, then that is definitely something that inspires me. When we talk about on more of a commercial basis, or more of a profit basis, or just an average startup, I would say that I love the journey. I love how there's my mind is blank, and then I get an idea or I see a problem, and then I brainstorm with myself, and then I make a solution, and then I develop a solution, I market it. So the whole journey of doing this is something that inspires me, and that is something that why I like being an entrepreneur. And when I say being an entrepreneur, I don't only mean that doing a startup, because I believe that entrepreneurship is not just about starting up. Entrepreneurship is uh, also about your mindset. So right now, I am working on a startup, but then I'm also working with a US based company as their head of marketing. And someone would say that doing a job is not being an entrepreneur, but I would not agree with that. It's just about your mindset, and I love how I see my job as a startup. So yeah, the whole journey is something that I love, and watching smiles on people's faces.
Exactly. To me, that is again. I also aspire to be an entrepreneur, and I think whoever aspires to be an entrepreneur has an idea. He or she can just start. There's nothing, and I'm also saying this to myself, because I'm thinking about it and I'm brainstorming about it, and I need some time because I'm also focusing on the other things. So I'm thinking about that idea, and it's something I find quite new and quite different. So yeah, I'm thinking about it, but I just want to convey this message again, to all the listeners. See, just you gotta love the process. When you don't love the process, and this is something how I present it, right, Deep? So I'm gonna share this
Hmm.
with you.
Hmm.
um I think I did a post on Instagram saying this. Who doesn't love being a doctor? Who would not want to be a doctor without doing anything? If you ask
Hmm.
me, most of the people, if you ask even me, I
Hmm.
don't like biology so much, but
Yeah.
even if you ask me, if you could be a doctor doing nothing, would you be? My answer would be yes. If you could be if you could be a lawyer doing nothing, yes. If you could be a civil service officer doing nothing, yes. But the main point comes, everyone loves the result, but do you love the process?
Yep.
And that is something I believe is passion. Passion is energy, yes. And this is where the energy flows into this process kind of thing. And just because you love the journey, you will be fulfilled all the time you work. But the people who don't love the process, who don't love the journey, will come tired at work, will hate when they wake up the morning
Yeah.
to go at work.
Hmm.
And this is something which happens everywhere, almost everywhere.
Yeah.
So, another
Okay.
question.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think people have asked you this.
Mhm.
What do you hate the most about entrepreneurship?
Wow. Okay. Uh, what do I hate? So, specifically, people would say failure, but I love failure. So, oh, okay. So, when you say what do you love about entrepreneurship or startups, I would want to add my answer, add my point to that answer. I love failures. Maybe we'll go to that point after this question. So, what do I
Yeah,
hate
same.
about it? Uh, I don't know, and so okay. Why don't you tell me what you had, and I'll buy some time from you to think about myself.
Can you repeat that question?
So what I said is, why don't I buy some time from you? You give your answer so that I understand what you feel about it. What do you hate?
All right. So, what I hate the most about entrepreneurship?
Mm-hmm.
It's not exactly something I hate, but yes, this is something I think
Mm-hmm.
many entrepreneurs might regret.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not spending enough time, or not spending a plenty of time with your family and with your
Oh yeah,
relationship with others.
yeah, yeah. True, true. I think I
I was
think I feel the
talking
same.
about it.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was talking about it with my friend too.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, I'm right now also being 15.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working quite hard. I'm gonna say that
Mm-hmm.
I'm working quite hard, and if I the dreams I want to achieve and the ambitions and the impact I want to have on the world and the people on a large scale that I want to help, if I
Mm-hmm.
want to do that, you know what, the worst thing, I'm gonna have one regret.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have a regret that I'm not going to spend enough time with my family relationship and family relationship with everyone, with my friends, family, romantic partner, everyone. So you agree to that, right?
I do, I really do, and I have faced a lot of problems in my life due to this. I started when I was 18, now I'm 23. It's been 5 years, and this 5 years has been really, like a turmoil on the relationships, including, all of them. I mean, as you described, parents and friends and romantic relationships. I've faced this problem in all these relationships. Sometimes I do regret about it. Sometimes I'm okay. To be really frank, what I thought about this is to take a 1 year break. So what I'm planning to do after, I guess after 1 year from now, I'm going to take a 1 year break from working, no work, zero work, just spending time with friends, family, and relations, and let's see how it goes.
Oh, I'm gonna try that. Actually, I did. Actually, I
You
did.
did?
In July this year,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I thought, let's take a break. Let's try things because I'm so young. I have to become
Yeah.
self-aware, and until I experiment with everything, I'm
Yeah.
not become self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, let's try this, and I did take 1 month break. I did not make any content. I did not write scripts. I did not read any book,
Mm-hmm.
and I tried doing that. I stopped waking up early.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, just below average kind of living. and
Right.
and after some time, trust me, it felt so bad and so fucked up.
Oh shit.
It really did. Trust me, when you are gonna try this, i
Mm-hmm.
i I just bet on you. You're too gonna feel it. Maybe your time may vary,
Yeah.
but I know, any hardworking person is gonna
Yeah.
feel that. I heard Gary Vaynerchuk,
Yeah.
he in one of his videos, I think
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna think about taking that December leap,
Mm-hmm.
which I think many influencers are talking about.
Okay.
So then he was like, but not working doesn't seem to be good time for me.
I know.
and I just felt the same after. When now I'm getting back to work, I
Mm-hmm.
just feel so alive. I just
Wow.
feel so more of living, trust
I
me.
feel you. I
And I
feel you.
highly recommend you to try that, because
Okay.
that's gonna completely change this concept in your mind.
I think I'll come back more inspired and more pumped to work.
Yeah, definitely, because
Okay.
that desire is gonna be even stronger. So yeah, definitely.
Okay. Nice.
So, uh, so you were 18 when you started,
Hmm.
and so you were also studying at that point of time, right?
Yeah, I
You
know.
were studying engineering.
Yeah, yeah. Completely.
How did that feel? That's something I really hate.
What do you mean? Why do you hate it? Do you mean studying and working on a startup?
I just find spending time with this book so irritating.
Oh my God, so true. So I have never been a good student. I even I went to Canada to study to do my postgraduate degree, and I tell you, I did not study at all. I wasted so much of money just to be in Canada. So one of my reasons to go there was to be able to network with people. But also, I invested a lot of money to study there. So even after investing, I thought I would study, but I did not. So I have always been a bad student. I study in the last day of exam, and I anyways passed because I know this computer and business stuff. So never been an issue in passing or getting good grades. But computer engineering and then going to Canada to study has always has not it's not studying is not a thing for me. If it's something more career related. So if you ask me to go study marketing, or you ask me to go study sales or business, then I would definitely do that. But going to colleges and studying a syllabus, doing theories is not something of my forte. And I wish I never in my life again decide to go and study.
that just put a that just did put a huge smile on my face.
But so again, okay, to give a context to readers, okay, in no ways I or Tahir, are inspiring you to not study. If you're studying, then put your efforts
Exactly.
into it. But if you think that you are not that kind of person, and if you have something on the side going on, and you know that you'll be able to make something out of it, then I'll tell you, I can bet on this. No grades are going to help you as much as your skills and as much as your achievements are going to help you. None of my jobs, I have worked with more than 30 startups. In As a consultant, I have worked with more than 5 startups as at a senior position, and none of the startups has asked me for my grades, not even for my result, not even for what I have studied, not even 1%, dudes, not even 1%. So if you are confident about your skills, then please work on improving your skills. But if not, then studying is not bad. It anyways is going to help in future.
I do exactly think the same thing, and let me share this with you.
Mm-hmm.
After our results, I think were out. As always, I just somehow, just like you, I just managed to pass.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool because everyone was so tense, and every time they're so tensed before the exam, I
Yeah.
think a bit of stress, increases our productivity,
Mm-hmm.
but tension, I think, is completely different,
Yeah.
because then you start to overthink.
Yeah.
And i and every time before the exam, when I enter the school, everyone is like, yeah, so we need to hear some jokes. So they're ready for that, and
Right.
I just make them smile, and it just makes me feel so good, because I
Mm-hmm.
see that stress just going away from them.
Mm-hmm.
And just like every time, so there are also other students who are average. I
Mm-hmm.
go to them and
Mm-hmm.
I ask them, why don't you study? And trust me, they look at me as if they're gonna kill me. And they ask me, why don't you study? I'm like, things are different for me
Yeah.
and you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I explain them
Mm-hmm.
why I asked this question, and I
Mm-hmm.
genuinely mean that. I also recorded a solo episode on that one. I'm just not getting the time to upload it. So I just also recorded a solo episode, because I just want everyone to get this in their head. Everything has a context, and because social media, and because the attention span is low, so there are short videos. So there are videos who are going to and I was also honestly encouraged so much by that before, and now also I am, but now the things are different.
Mm-hmm.
So before I would say everyone around me, like Mark Zuckerberg was also a dropout, Bill Gates was also a dropout, but the context is so
Yeah.
much
True.
different, and people do not get that.
Yeah.
And this is something I always try to say everyone, hey dude, listen, if you want to be self-employed, if you want to do something of your own, and if you are perfectly okay with hearing of not being embarrassed because you do not have good formal education,
Mm-hmm.
then you can do this.
Yeah.
And if you have enough confidence, and be ready to face the consequences.
Yeah.
And lately I've been thinking about it so much
Mm-hmm.
that, do I really want to do this? And I think I'm gonna drop out one day. It just doesn't resonate with me, seriously. I do not want to invest even an hour of mine into these books, but I
Wow.
have to pass somehow, and I do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what book are you currently reading? I really want
Okay,
to ask that.
so I have 5 books on my desk. I'll grab them and see what they are. So one is, of course, Gary Vaynerchuk Crush It, which is a moderately good book. Then I have read this one from Ryan Holiday called Growth Hacker Marketing, but I like to keep it on my desk. Uh, then is a Catalyst, which is written by, I guess, an Indian author called Chandra Mouli. I've heard a lot of things
Yeah,
about this
yeah,
book.
yeah.
Have you read it?
How is it? It's
So
actually on
I'm
my to read list.
Is it? Okay, so I have not yet started. The one that I'm reading right now is called the Sales Leader's Problem Solver, because right now one of my job responsibilities is to be a sales leader. I'm trying to hire people in sales and then leading them to close more and get more leads, etc. So this one is good, Sales Leader's Problem Solver. And I like to have Word Power Made Easy, which is one of the most famous books that you can buy anywhere in India, because I like to keep learning new words every day. So I'm keeping in track on what kind of words I'm learning every day. So these 5 books are currently on my desk.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
It's really good. People in our generation, I feel that. And every time I would see someone read books, I would be like, why are you always with these books? These seem so yuck. And
Mm-hmm.
I started reading this year, and I try to read two to three,
Mm-hmm.
3+ books a
Mm-hmm.
month.
Mm-hmm.
And I quite closely try to achieve that. So, the listeners, another highlight point for you. So, this is something I want to say. Reading is really something. When I read, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm having a conversation with the author.
Right.
Do you agree to
Yeah,
that?
I do a lot. It's like he or she is sitting in front of us and talking to us. Yeah.
Exactly. It just
Yeah.
it just feels like that, and you grasp so much of the work of the author who has written it in just a
Mm-hmm.
weeks maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
Yep.
just kind of like that, just like 0 to 1. You
Yeah.
have so much of information
Mm-hmm.
by this legendary businessman Peter
Yeah.
Thiel,
Yeah.
just into a book, and it's a quite short book. You can just read it in a week if
Yeah.
you're a fast reader,
Mm-hmm.
or if you're just getting started with reading, you can read it in a month or so.
True. Yeah, and
So
while sorry, so while we're talking about books and resources, I really want to plug this resource in. So there is this person in psychology and marketing called Nick Kolenda, Nickkolenda, and I just stumbled
okay.
upon his website yesterday, and all I've done from yesterday and today is read his resources. Oh my god, mind blowing. So anyone who's listening to this, please search for Nick Colinda. uh you know Out of the box ideas on marketing, sales, writing, starting up, psychologies and pricing strategies and whatnot. So yeah.
Now I want to ask you a question.
Hmm.
What do you think, entrepreneurs are born or made?
I'm not sure if I'm born from it. I would say you should be made. Entrepreneurs are made. Uh, no one has come with the skills. It's always you come, you find a problem, or not always find a problem. You have an idea, or you have a passion to start something, and then you learn the skills to achieve that, and that is how you are born. That is how an entrepreneur is born, as in while they are living. So they are not born from their birth, but it's all about what kind of people they live with, or what kind of websites they serve, what kind of hobbies they have. So for me, I'll tell you why it was easy for me when I was 18 to understand what entrepreneurship is because when I was 14, uh, I was awarded in my state in Gujarat for reading the highest number of books, which was 300 books when I was 14 or 15. So that is how,
Wow.
yeah, and that, the reason behind that is I have never had, my dad never allowed me to have television. So we have television, but we only have one news channel. So I never went into watching cartoons or TV series or serials. I always had books with me, and that is how I was a good grasper, or I was a person who could read and understand information. And that is why at the age of 18 I was able to understand what I need to do as an entrepreneur. So yeah, you are never born. I was a good reader. I was not an entrepreneur, but because of the habit of reading, I became an entrepreneur. I would say 30% of the reason that why I'm entrepreneur is because my habit of reading. So I would say your entrepreneurs are not born. You are made according to what you do, what are your hobbies, what kind of people you are around with, what kind of activities do you do online. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
I 100% agree with you,
Hmm.
but I also do have a counter argument.
Sure, go ahead.
Um, what you said, I completely agree with that.
Hmm.
And actually, this is something I've been really thinking about lately,
Hmm.
because I hear this question in podcast, and I actually, Steve Bartlett is
Hmm.
the CEO of Social Change, so I really admire him, and I heard him ask this question. I think it was the third or fourth time I heard this question, and I thought about it. I journal about it.
Hmm.
What I think, yes, entrepreneurs are made. You can work hard and become an entrepreneur. You can acquire the skill set and become an entrepreneur. You can, put everything
Hmm.
and become an entrepreneur. But where does the desire come from?
I think it's still about the circumstances you are in. So I had no desire; it came from the situation, right? It's just about the
Yeah, yeah.
situations you are in. So if I had not received the WhatsApp message, I would not be where I am today. So there's that. From my perspective, that has nothing to do with how I was born, right? It was just about the situation. So of course there's some luck factor behind it, or there's some destiny factor behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do believe that.
Yeah.
All right. So, I just felt so amazing. You read 300 books.
Yeah.
It so track me back to your life before 18.
Hmm. Okay.
You were born,
I
and then so you didn't have this television, so you started reading books, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was born, and then I started reading when I was 10. I remember, because no television. My dad used to, so he just retired. He used to be in government, in education sector. So what he had access to was a lot of libraries, a lot of school with libraries, and a lot of books. So at first I just had one option. I didn't know if I wanted to read or not. I just had one option in front of me, so I took a book, I read, and then it became a habit. and by 14 I achieved that. I still have the certificate. 300, I used to have the list of 300 books. Somehow I don't know how I managed to list all of them, because one of the reasons is that I used to own all these books, but then there are this kind of worms who eat books or pages. I don't know what the fuck happened, but I used to own all these books. So yeah, that's how the reading went. And then now I have stopped a little bit. I have decreased my pace in reading a little bit, because now I believe in, uh, which I don't know if if this is a good thing, but I started believing in more creating and less consuming, because what we read online all the time is not always good stuff, and most of the time it's all about the tactics or techniques. But I have now understood, and I really want, I know, everyone to understand that problem or solutions to real problems are in the roots, because problems are in the roots and solutions are also supposed to be in the roots. So what we always read online might not be good thing to read. So now I, after understanding this, I've stopped, or I've decreased my pace in consuming the content.
100%. And I want to point out two things, which people make mistakes on, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been gone through this. A, they consume too much and
Mm-hmm.
create none.
Yeah.
B, they create too much and stop consuming.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started creating content, obviously I had tuitions in schools and everything, so I was quite busy, and so I I was always creating. And there was one day when I realized I'm not learning anymore. I'm
Yeah.
just creating.
Yeah. Yeah.
I my reading was slowed down. It was just slowed down like anything. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't watching much YouTube videos, those case studies and stuffs like that, interviews, more listening to podcasts and all those things.
Yeah.
And I realized that if we create too much, obviously it's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but if we stop consuming, and not consuming,
Mm-hmm.
learning,
Yeah.
if we stop learning, that's really bad, because life is all about growing and learning.
True.
And in the first case, which was consuming too much,
Mm-hmm.
which is the most of us,
Yeah. Yeah. True.
most of us are consuming too much. And there was one point, and now also is kind of same, that from superficial things like YouTube videos
Mm-hmm.
or short videos based on philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm getting into.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized this, it's kind of the same thing repeating,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the same thing repeating which I already know.
Yeah, right. True.
And so I took a break here.
Mm-hmm.
I i took a step back. I
Mm-hmm.
thought,
Mm-hmm.
how can I get deep into this? And and I firmly believe this, that the person who achieve great heights
Mm-hmm.
go upwards, they go downwards first. Do you agree to
Yeah,
that?
I do. 100%.
When they go deep into something,
Mm-hmm.
they start growing up faster.
True, true, true.
How do you what are your tips on time management? How do you manage all your time? Because you also consult startups, you are working as the marketing head, you are also working on your own startup, and you're also a LinkedIn content creator, right?
Yep.
So how do you manage your time?
So to be really frank, I am really bad at time management. That is one of the things I need to learn. I have started becoming a little bit better, and from what I know, first thing I would say is, to understanding what to do or what not to do. And even though you say that I'm doing this many things, I would say that I have, so if I'm doing five things, I have said no to 500 other things. So one of the things
Exactly.
I have learned is to say no to stuff, because once, okay, I'll break my journey down into two steps, two phases. There was one
Okay.
phase where I used to say yes to everything, and I am so glad that I did that, because when you're starting, there's not much opportunities. You need to hustle through opportunities, you need to struggle to get
Yep.
opportunities. And then what people do is, if they find an opportunity, they say that they are too busy to do that, and then they say no. Either they say they are too busy, or that either they say they are too, or they don't have the skills. And about not having the skills, I believe in that, and Sir Richard Branson had said that take the opportunity, and then you'll have time to learn about it. Right. So I believe when you're starting
Mhm.
up, when you don't have enough opportunities, you should not say no to anything. I used to do 10 different things in a day, and I was getting paid them $5 a day or something at that time when I started consulting startups. I'm not even kidding, $5 a day. And then I used to struggle and hustle through that because I was just starting up, and I
Wow.
knew that, it's not about the money. I need to learn, I need to make contacts. I did that, and I used to do 10 different things. And that was the time to do that, because I was starting up. Now that I have more than enough opportunities, now is the time I've started learning saying no. Even though if it's paying good, I need to understand what I want to do, and then I say no to 50 different things a day. So that is one of the time management tips that I would like to share. And then one thing that might be controversial, not controversial, I would say something to discuss about, but then I believe a lot in hustling. So you'll see me, so it's 12 right now, 12 at the night, and I'm going to be awake till at least 6 or 7 working. I'll sleep for a few hours, and then again start working. So if I have 19 hours a day to work, I think I can manage time easily. But when you have 6 hours, 6 hours of work, when you want to do 6 hours of work, and then other 18 hours you want to waste doing something else, then you should not even think about managing time, because you are not even investing time. So when you have enough time
Yeah.
for work, then managing is it becomes easy.
Aspiring entrepreneurs listening, you gotta say no to all the birthdays, useless marriages, bachelor parties.
Yeah. But then it again comes around, and goes to our point of understanding if we value relationships more or work more. It depends on you what you want to do. And
Exactly.
it's no, it's not bad if you want to value relationships more and do less work, if you're happy with that. And this is something Gary Vee says: if you're happy with wasting time or not investing time in work, if you're happy with that, then you are actually at a better mental state or mindset than me and Tahir.
Exactly. This is something really important. It depends and varies to everyone. In comparison is the thief of joy, as Theodore Roosevelt said. And now a question pops up in my mind. How do you stop yourself comparing to others?
So okay, so this is a bigger cycle. I'm not sure if I'll be able to recollect this, but just few days ago I explained the same thing to my friend, who always has a motive which is more materialistic. So let me try to recollect. What happens is, when you have a materialistic goal, it could be of buying a car, or it could be of raising millions of dollars for your startup, which actually might not be bad, but again, it's really materialistic. If it could be having 100,000 followers on Instagram. If we have this, and this comes only when you saw someone with this thing. If you don't see anyone with 100,000 followers, you don't want that. You only want that when someone you're jealous of, you see them and you want that. Now, what happens is, when you see someone with 100,000 followers, you want that, you try to put work, but more than putting the work, you try to reach the result. And what happens there is, you are not focused on your journey, you are focused on achieving the end materialistic goal. And because you keep comparing yourself every day, from your 1,000 followers to this person's 100,000 followers, this will happen every day, and this will somehow be an hurdle in your work because you'll always be anxious about not being where you want to be. So it will become more of anxiety and jealousy rather than putting the work. And this will actually end up for you not being able to achieve the goal, just being looped in this cycle of anxiousness. So because that I know this thing, I know that I don't have materialistic goals. I just want to enjoy the journey of getting from 1,000 to 100,000. I will be sad if I have 100,000 followers tomorrow, because I want to go through this journey. I want to learn this journey. I want to understand how this happens. I then want to teach people how I did that. I want to discuss about that. And if I get 100,000 tomorrow, I'll be sad because I won't be able to go through the journey. Now, why don't I get jealous, or why don't I compare with them, these people, because I know they went through this journey. They did not get 100,000 followers in a day. Now, because they go through the hustle, I know I have to go through the hustle, and I know I want to go through the hustle. So I really feel happy when I see someone with Mercedes, because I know that they hustled and they know I'm hustling, and then I know I'm going to achieve this. But I never try to compare my current status to someone else's future status or someone else's status after they hustled. I just know that I have to go through the journey, and that makes it easier for me, or that makes me better for me to get inspired and not get jealous of them. And that ultimately, helps me to not compare myself, but just learn from them.
I 100%, 110% agree with you. And I've been lucky on this one, on not comparing myself with others, because since my childhood I have always have this desire of being different, because I I had a very low self-esteem, because I didn't get enough grades, good grades, and enough marks. And so I would hear that he or she is better, and people constantly keep comparing
Hmm.
us to others. And this is a video I made, and this was something I started my content creating journey with.
Hmm.
Every parent, if you are a parent, watch this on YouTube.
Hmm.
So this is something I did specifically pointing the parents, because my parents, my friends' parents, I constantly and always hear that. Look at her, she did that. Look at this, he can do that. Why are you so bad? And and I always wanted to be different, and I always had something different and rebellious kind of thing in my
Hmm.
mind. So I was lucky in this one, not comparing myself with others, but people feel so insecure
Hmm.
on this one when they compare themselves to others. And exactly what you said, when we have materialistic goals, we constantly do that. Especially nowadays, what I realize the brands are trying to do,
Yeah.
either that's Victoria's Secret, Armani, or they constantly, first of all, in how do they make you realize you have a empty spot.
Hmm.
And I find that okay when when other products do that, like Facebook or Instagram, just that we can give you these features. But I hate it when these fashion companies kind of do that,
Hmm.
because it just I see my friends, they compare themselves to
Yeah.
supermodels, and it does really hit me. So as you said, we must not have materialistic
Hmm.
goals, and then we can, then this thing, we can escape this comparison game. Then how, as you are an entrepreneur, how do you run your business? Like, you don't have to hit this much in revenue, you don't have goals to outwit your competition.
So when it comes to business, I think that's not how I would like it to go. For business, I am a bit competitive. I like to analyze competitors and understand what they are doing and try to achieve that. Somehow, somewhere, I understand that so, my business is not exactly the same as the competitor's business. I have a USP. I have something unique or something better, somehow different from them. So I'm going to sell on that. But uh, if we talk about business, and then I'm a bit competitive, and I don't think that's a bad thing, and I'm no one to you know say that I'm right about this. Maybe you should not be competitive, but for businesses you should be competitive. You should understand what the competitors are doing. In fact, this is one of the initial stages if you are starting up, you need to understand what the competitors are doing and how you can do better than them. And that is one of the techniques I have seen called a skyscraper technique, which works in content creation and also when you're starting up. So when what happens is, if you don't have a startup idea and you want to start up, and I don't suggest you do this, but even if you want to do this, what you can do is you can see a product that is working really fine, then see what is something, what is one thing that they're lacking at, and then build a product which fulfills the one thing that the other product is lacking at. So competitions and competitor analysis and having a competitive advantage in business is definitely something I would say you should not miss out on.
I actually do agree on that with you,
Okay.
and I do believe that because if I personally, I do not at all like to compare myself with anyone in this world,
Mhm.
but I am competitive.
Yeah.
I love winning.
Yeah.
I also love losing
Yeah.
because when I lose, I get so much to learn. When I win, I get this dopamine release in my head, and I absolutely love that too. And the business thing, I think what mistake others do, and actually this is not something I learned from my personal experience. I learned this from Simon Sinek. I was listening to a podcast
Hmm.
yesterday,
Hmm.
an interview. So he said this,
Hmm.
and he did not exactly say this, but I'm going to break it
Yeah.
down in this way. We must not, or any business must not, uh, link their growth
Hmm.
to outwitting their competition.
Hmm.
And why I think that, or competitor, I should say,
Hmm.
rather,
Hmm.
because your competitor might be, for suppose you're doing $1 million in sale, they're doing $1.5 million in sale.
Hmm.
When you, if your goal, if a company's goal, and he said that, if your company's goal is to outwit that your competitors revenue, which is $1.5 million,
Hmm.
you're going to be stuck there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should outwit the competition, but not stop here. And it describes this into infinitive and finite game.
Hmm.
So that's something. Did you read Start With Why?
No, I've not.
I also haven't. I really
Okay.
want to read that book.
Uh-huh.
Who are the top five people who are you most inspired by?
Hmm. Good question. First one, I would say my dad. My dad. My dad is 0% business person. He used to be in government and retired in government. Business is not, not even once he would think of himself starting a business. He did not even believe when I said I'm starting a business, because it's not in our DNA, as he would say. But something that I really admire of him is his ability to work hard, and that is in my DNA. So that comes from my DNA. Working hard, hustling, and trying to solve any problem or overcoming any hurdle in front of you is something that I learned from my dad. So first of all, first rank I would give him. Second, Gary Vaynerchuk. Of course, I I can relate to him on many aspects, and some of these aspects are of course hustle, and I can also compare him with how his thought, his mindset to my dad's mindset. So these both are really pretty similar figures for me. On the third number I would say hmm so I really see no, I don't look out for inspiration in the outer world. I'm okay. I don't need inspiration, I don't need motivation. uh I don't like watching motivational videos. I am more of a realistic person. Only motivation I find or I like to consume is in the aspect of being able to work hard, because I can really relate to it. But
Yeah.
on the other perspectives, I think I like to follow what I want to do and follow my inner self and follow where destiny takes me. So, yeah, in motivations and inspirations, I would only name these two people.
It's so great that the motivation you have for your work and hustle,
Hmm.
it more comes from
Yeah,
inside you
yeah,
rather than something
yeah.
outside. Because and I for me it's kind of really the same,
Hmm.
really, like really.
Wow.
Because when I think I consider it, because when we link our motivation or our desire or our drive to something external,
Hmm.
we would always need that,
Yeah, yeah.
and it would just get so useless kind of
I
thing.
know, I know.
So and I can so relate to you on that point
Hmm.
that your dad said to you that business is not in your
Yeah.
DNA, because my dad is exactly the same.
Hmm.
He also is in
Uh-huh.
government. He's an engineer
Hmm.
in the water resource department.
Hmm.
So he also when I told him I wanted to start a
Hmm.
business, and actually the last startup I did and it failed,
Hmm.
I he did not know about it.
Oh.
It all was done by me hidden. So
Hmm.
till now he doesn't know.
Okay.
So when I said to him I want to do this and I explained him my idea,
Hmm.
he was like, "Do anything, just get your degree. I do not want you to take such high
Hmm.
risk." And I have so much empathy for him, and I understand
Hmm.
why he doesn't want me to,
Hmm.
because he's someone for whom recognition, respect, and
Hmm.
valuation are the top
Right.
things. He wants this. He doesn't want money and or have such a big impact or those kind of things,
Right.
but he's just driven by respect, so much respect, recognition, and valuation.
Right.
So Deep, when you started this business when you were 18,
Hmm.
what was your father's and your family's reaction?
So because I started this thing as not as a business, but just as something that helps people. They were really happy. There was no, because even I did not have the motivation or the motive to convert it to a business. I was just aiming to help people with that. There was no money involved. There was no business involved. So he was quite okay with that.
That's
Yeah.
great. And so, right now you are. Is it a 9 to 5 job? You do head of market as a
Uh,
as the head of
the
marketing.
thing is, the company is located in the US, so it should be 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. job, but it's not like that.
Oh.
But it's not like that, because we are actually not a company. So we, like, it's a company, but we are a startup. So we are more with an entrepreneurial mindset. And as I said, I don't like doing a 9 to 5 job. I like to do a job which is more of an entrepreneurial job. And as the head of marketing, I have many responsibilities, but then I like to do it on my own way and in my own time, and that is why I love this job. So thanks to fintech school, I'm able to do it, whenever I want. There's no restrictions.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 9 to 5 is. So tonight also you're gonna be awake
Yeah,
like
because yeah,
that.
it's because it's, if they would say that you have to be awake from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., it would be really hard for me, because I don't like being stuck to a schedule. But because they have never said that, I would be more than happy to be awake
That's so great. Uh, what is your purpose?
in life.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, my purpose is to be able to inspire people, and which comes with uh, a sub purpose of being able to achieve something so that I can use this achievement to be able to inspire people. And the achievement, I don't mean, again, not something really materialistic, but something that would be good enough to be taken as an example, and good enough to make me hustle hard, because I love the journey for achieving something. So going top to bottom, uh, my purpose also includes, to be go through, to go through the hustle. So to go through hustle, achieve something, to set an example for people that if I can do this, why cannot you? I am a dumb guy. I used to be a dumb guy. I used to be an average student. My teachers never, made me a class monitor, and I used to be sad about it. And I used to thought that I could never be a good leader, because if I cannot be if I cannot even be a good, cannot even be a class monitor, how can I be a good leader? So I want to set this example that whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever kind of money you have, whatever kind of skills you have, you can achieve something. And then when I've achieved, I want to, when I've set this example, I want to uh, I want to be able to spread the message to everyone.
This is so great. I really pray
Hmm.
that you're gonna achieve your purpose. Even if you don't, you're gonna have a huge impact on the world.
Thank you.
And I want to ask you, which were the if you could share three worst experience of your life.
Okay. So, so these are not the worst experiences, but these are some experiences that could be considered on the negative side of my journey. And again, I know there's no grudges holded to this. So if people who are included in the stories are listening this, I'm not sure if they are going to, but if they are, no grudges. So first one is, so after the blood startup, we actually failed at that because we did not have funds, and we did not want to raise fund at the same time. We were students, so somehow we had to stop operations. And then I started another startup called Harsolve, uh, and I went to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, to attend a hackathon. And then there I found a team of a few people, 4 to 5 people. We built this thing. We were selected as one of the finalists over there. Then after coming back, I and one of the other people from there were, continued working on the same thing. After 6 7 months, we raised angel investment from an international investor. But what happened is, again, we made some mistakes. And what happened is, the other person from Malaysia who was working with me left the startup for another startup, for some of his other startup. And then this actually ultimately made the investor to decide not to keep investing in the startup. So this was, yeah,
Oh,
this was one of the, and actually I again, no grudges, because this guy is a genius, and if leaving my startup helped him in any way to improve his journey, then I'm really happy for him. But I learned a good lesson here, is that you should choose people who are going to stay with you. So this is one of the
exactly.
examples, of the negative side of this. uh, okay, so one more would be investing in something that you are not sure would work out. So after Higher Solve, I started 3 more small ventures where I invested some of my money to. And so this basically were e-commerce stores, and I invested money to for Facebook advertising. I I failed at that, After failing, I knew that I failed, but I after failing, I knew that what mistakes I made, but there was no USP in this business. There was nothing unique that I was doing, and this was a lesson I learned. Again, I would not say that I this was a bad thing that happened to me, because ultimately I learned how to do Facebook advertising, and it's really good to fail, as I 100% believe. But this gives an example of, you should not put your money on a business unless you are generating revenue from it. I really believe in this. If you need to put money to start generating revenue, then it's not a good business. So yeah, this too is, these two examples are something that I can recollect.
Definitely, it was quite valuable
Hmm.
to me even. And the first story actually, a few hours ago, I called my friend and I shared this with him,
Hmm.
the exact
Oh,
same. He went to Malaysia,
okay.
and I want to share this to my listeners.
Mhm.
Please, everyone listening right now, just think about it. Someone who went to Malaysia, partnered up with someone for a startup, got an angel investment, and then his partner leaves him, the investor backs off,
Yeah,
and he's complete all in vain kind of thing.
yeah. Even
But
I,
still,
I was in a situation where I had to pay money to people, so I was in debt.
and he was in debt too.
Yeah.
So, Deep, can you talk more about it? What did you do afterwards? Were you into depression, or you were just cool and you realized it's just a part of life and you started working once again?
So good thing, fortunately, I did not go into a mental depression in general, because thanks to dad, he has made me a person with a thick skin. So in general, in life, I was okay. Business life, of course, fucked up, because half big product, nothing that I can sell people to, people that I need to pay to. So there was only one way, that I could do something. I was sure that I was not going to ask dad for money. One reason is that, he believed that businesses are not a good idea, and I did not want to, you know uh, confirm his thoughts by asking him money for my business. And second thing, of course, I did not want to ask for money because I wanted to do it by myself. So I started looking for ways on how I can earn money. And while the product was being developed, one of my responsibilities was to do marketing. So I knew a little bit of marketing, and when I say little bit, I just knew how to know advertising. I just knew how to do Facebook and Instagram. I used to know how to create graphics on Canva or some other tools like that. I just knew the basic things. Uh, I went on because this was the only skill that I could convert to a sellable skill. So I went on. Uh, I can bet you I was awake for like a few months, 20 hours a day, working 4 to 5 hours of sleep, and I can bet on this because I remember these days. And I worked my, as of to get all these skills, acquire all these skills. And after this much time, and no, by this time, I really, requested these people that I had to pay to, please, bear with me. I am doing my best to do, overcome this situation. And if you bear with me right now, our future is bright. So they thankfully were okay with that. Product development was going on simultaneously. And then after acquiring all these marketing skills, I started with Fiverr. I went to Fiverr and I said I was working whole day for $5. This is what I was talking about. I started with Fiverr. $5 was the price of the gig. $1 commission Fiverr used to take. So I was getting $4, and I used to work hours and hours for $4, and then collecting this $4 and $4 and $4, or sometimes I would get $10. Collecting all this, small amounts, I paid my, team off. Yeah,
That's so great, and things change,
yeah.
right? hard work forever pays. It's one of my favorite statements. I just so much love, and I so much believe in that. You know, people ask me, why am I working so hard when I'm having so less followers and I'm getting so much of less of views? And I just say to them, it's not about the number of followers I have, but and honestly, genuinely, it just means so much to me because I really want to have even if I get 2 views,
Mm-hmm.
and if the 2 people watching my videos really get impacted by them, it hits
True.
me. It's something why I am doing this. And I post 3 times on Instagram. I'm having 600 followers only.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure one day it would grow.
Yeah.
I want to reach out to more people,
Yeah.
but hard work forever pays. I just so much believe in that. I'm putting out so much content. I'm putting out on Twitter. I'm putting out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, podcast,
Wow.
everywhere. And I just so much believe that one day it's gonna,
Yeah.
just if even if someone comes to me and says, Tahir, you have changed my life, that's enough for me.
Mm-hmm. Right. And this belief will take you ahead. This belief will push you through the hard times and the hurdles when, while you are going through the hard phase of the journey. So, yeah, please keep it up, man.
You're seriously, you see, I was literally so excited for this one. I was jumping around. I had tuition today, so I was telling all my friends today I'm gonna interview Deep. And whenever I tell them something like that, they'll be like, "Tell me something new. You are always doing these kind of things."
Right.
So
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
always sharing my day, and my day seems kind of
Mm-hmm.
boring to them because I'm reading, learning,
Mm-hmm.
growing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I know.
it's you're just such an humble person. Thank you so very much. You're just so good. Definitely someone, you definitely, if everyone has such a fascinating story, and there is so
Mm-hmm.
much more to that deep Kakkar on either on LinkedIn or the Josh Talk. There's so much more to that, and I'm so grateful. Sincerely, I'm so grateful to be able to know you so much more. Thank you so much, Deep, for doing
Thanks a
this.
lot, man. I really enjoyed the time, and so I've been to podcasts before. You have been really good, and I really enjoyed the talk, man. Really great conversation. And I'm
Thank
really proud of you what you're doing at 15, man. I'm really proud. Please keep doing what you are doing, and it'll definitely hit the threshold that you want to reach, man. I'm 100% sure about you.
Thank you so very much. So I want to end this with the F2, which I call the final two. I
Hmm.
just had written it a few minutes ago. So yeah. What's your take on chasing happiness?
Don't. I think whatever comes, you should go with it. I believe in destiny. You know what I believe. You should, if you are sad, then you should be sad. I like being sad. Then that is sadistic thing. But you should not chase something. Whatever comes to you is meant to come to you. You should embrace it. You should go through it. If you don't see sadness, then you will not appreciate happiness. So if you are sad at this moment, there is a reason for you to be sad. Then. Be sad, or I would say be happy about being sad.
Definitely, I 100% agree on that. And actually, while keeping this name "Chasing Happiness" of my podcast, I really wondered it.
Hmm.
Actually, if I say to someone, hey, chase happiness, it's not
Hmm.
correct because it has got so much more. And
Hmm.
as Gary Vaynerchuk says, I think you might know this. He says, make happiness the North Star. Did
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
hear him
Mm.
saying that? Maybe you're
Yeah,
busy.
I've heard it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So that is something I mean by chasing happiness, that don't chase materialistic goals. Try to be
Hmm.
fulfilled. Listen to your inner voice. That is something I mean.
Hmm.
So yeah, but
It's true.
definitely what you said, I 100%
Hmm.
agree on that, because
Yeah.
chasing happiness is one of the worst thing one can do. And I
Yeah.
apologize for the name. But when one
That's
chases
different.
happiness, hey, why don't I be happy, why don't I be happy, one is
Exactly.
gonna go away from that.
Yeah, yeah, I
And the
agree.
second one is, what advice would you give to someone like me?
Someone like you about, oh, okay, I can, okay, for you I don't have any advice because you're really good what you are, bro.
Thank
But
you so much.
talking about people at your age, I would say, don't think twice. If you want to do it, then do it. The worst thing about starting up is the best thing about starting up is failure. If you fail, then you learn. If you don't fail, you don't learn. So the fear that is keeping you up from not starting up, which is failure, is actually a good thing. So whatever happens, if it leads to failure, if it leads to sadness, as I said, sadness is good, embrace it. If it's failure, embrace it, and do whatever the hell that you can do, and let whatever hell comes to you, let it be. Anyways, whatever happens is going to help you or improve you or uh, leave you with some lessons.
I hope you really loved the episode. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the show and follow us if you are on Spotify. Please, please, please leave a review and a 5-star rating if you want so in the iTunes store if you're listening on Apple Podcast. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I hope you have grabbed enormous value from this episode, and I just pray that you put in the knowledge that you gained from this episode. If deep you were listening, I'm genuinely so grateful for you. It was such a fabulous time doing this with you. I had so much fun. It was so amazing to do this episode with you. Thank you so much, Deep. Um, and thanks to every single one of you, whoever is listening. I'm genuinely so grateful to every single listener, because this podcast really means a lot to me. As for this podcast, I'm able to connect to so many awesome people like Deep and the future guests that are going to be on the show. Thank you so much. Take care, and I'll touch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much.